We're going to call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Venus Independent School District on October 20th, 2025 at 6 p.m. And we do have a quorum. If everyone would please stand for the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay, we have a few of our students are going to say the pledge together. Okay, come on, Layla. Okay, ready? Really loud. Can y'all do it? Say, I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'd like to welcome everybody here tonight. Thank you for coming. We'll go to item 4, recognitions. Mr. Gatewood.
We're going to start with our student of the month. We're going to start with the primary school. Luciano, are you present? Come on up, sir. Luciano is a kind, responsible, and brings a great attitude to school every day. He listens respectfully, helps his classmates, and puts his best effort into everything he does. His curiosity and love for learning shine in the classroom, setting a positive example for others to follow. Next, we have Venus Elementary, Jesus. You don't know if Jesus made it? Okay, we'll go ahead and move to the middle school, Trinity. Trinity is a 6th grader and is always a ray of sunshine. She does what she's supposed to do, is always helpful, and works incredibly hard on anything that's asked of her. She is a leader in her classes and our school and always sets a great example for other students. She is a model bulldog. Next, we have the high school, Clarissa. This recognition is presented to Clarissa for her exceptional character, steadfast work ethic, and quiet leadership. Clarissa is a brilliant and dedicated student who consistently goes above and beyond, balancing academic excellence with selfless service across multiple school organizations and a part-time job. She is honored for her helpful spirit in the library and her tireless commitment. Okay, awesome. Now we're going to move on to the support staff from primary, Mrs. Sardoui. Mrs. Sardoui is truly the heart of our office. She greets everyone with a smile, brings a positive attitude every day, and is always willing to step in and help wherever she is needed. Her kindness, professionalism make her a wonderful support for both students and parents alike. Elementary, Mahia? Elementary, yeah. Did I pronounce it correctly? Mahia is a dedicated employee who deeply values the well-being of the students she assists. She consistently thrives to motivate and encourage them. Most notably, she has demonstrated remarkable initiative by stepping into the behavior room, managing students and the classroom effectively during a teacher's absence. Her ability to build strong relationships with students makes her an invaluable asset to Venus Elementary School. And the middle school is absent, but Mr. Hyde. High school, Ashley Elliott, is she here? Ashley? Okay. Next, we'll move on to the teachers. What's that? No, he's not here. No, no, him. Venus Primary, Mrs. Walker. Mrs. Walker goes above and beyond for her students each day. Being an effective teacher takes more than delivering great lessons. It requires patience, kindness, and flexibility. Venus Elementary, Karen Williams. Okay. Venus Middle School, Mark Christensen. He's right there. Mark is always positively impacting students to think more critically, both inside his classroom and outside during his strategy game club. He develops a rapport with students and for love and learning that keeps them coming back for more. He also coaches TSA students from both the middle school and high school, allowing them to follow their academic passions. He is an amazing educator. High school, Coach Vu. Coach Vu is known for his exceptional dedication and commitment to our student athletes. Nam consistently goes above and beyond to ensure our students feel supported and celebrated, demonstrating his outstanding character and work ethic year after year. Yes, ma'am. Is Mrs. Camacho here with the awards? Yes, here. Did you want to read about it, Mrs. Camacho?
Sure.
Yes, ma'am. That way, at the shoot from the hip.
For the second year in a row, Venus High School is proud to celebrate the achievements of the students who earned academic honors from the College Board National Recognition Program. Every year, talented students claim an award based on their achievement on College Board assessments, including the PSAT and AP exams. In 2025, the program offered 3 awards to students of all backgrounds and across schools nationwide: the First Generation Award, the Rural and Small Town Recognition Award, and the School Recognition Award. This year, 7 Venus ISD students were awarded these awards. Eligible students must meet the following criteria to qualify: earn a GPA of B+ or higher, PSAT National Merit Score qualifying test score of within the top 10% of assessment takers in each state for each award program, or a score of 3 or higher on 2 or more AP exams by the end of 10th grade. They also can qualify by attending a school in a rural area or small town, or be a first-generation college student. The following students were awarded the following National Recognition Award programs: Gage Britton, Gage was awarded the School Recognition Award and the First Generation Recognition Award. Presley Frazier. Presley was awarded the School Recognition Award. Jennifer Gonzalez. Jennifer is awarded the School Recognition Award, and this is her second year in a row to qualify for the College Board National Recognition Program. Not with us tonight is Haley Caseberger. Haley was awarded the Rural and Small Town Recognition Award and the School Recognition Award, and it is also her second year in a row to qualify for the College Board National Recognition Program. Elena Roper. Elena qualified for First Generation Recognition Award, School Recognition Award, and Rural and Small Town Recognition Award. Avery Sansom. Avery qualified for the School Recognition Award. Nolan Wendell. Nolan qualified for 2 awards, the Rural and Small Town Recognition Award and the School Recognition Award. All right. We are very proud of all of our College Board National Recognition Program award recipients. This is a national award. It's very selective, so it only goes to the top of the top. So let's give one more round of applause for all of our winners.
Last but not least, I want to recognize 4 individuals. These individuals, they work tirelessly behind the scenes. They, what I consider the engine and the heartbeat of the school district. If I call them, I'm going to call them at one at a time. I want them all to stand up there for a group picture. We're going to go ahead and start out. It is Principal Month. Miss Leanne Ortiz, come on down. Yes, ma'am. Take the gift card. I know you're going to take that. Lana Whitworth. Kimberly Buck. And Santiago Camacho. guys got to line up for a picture. I'm not going to let you off the hook there that easy.
We'll go to item number 5, opportunity for public comment, including any item on the agenda. And we have Jeremy Wendell, who has signed up to speak. So I have something that I read first. So I'll read that, and then you have 5 minutes to speak, and we time it. So when you get to about 1 minute, Kirby will let you know, count it down for you. Audience participation at a board meeting is limited to the portion of the meeting designated to receive public comment in accordance with this policy. At all other times during a board meeting, the audience shall not enter into discussion or debate on matters being considered by the board unless requested by the presiding officer. Individuals who wish to participate during the portion of the meeting designated for public comment shall sign up with the presiding officer or designee before the meeting begins as specified in the board's procedures on public comment and shall indicate the agenda item or topic on which they wish to address the board. Except as permitted by this policy and the board's procedures on public comment, an individual's comments to the board shall not exceed 5 minutes per meeting. Do you have any questions on that? No? Okay.
I'll start when you start.
Okay. Good evening. I'm here to express my concerns regarding an ongoing situation in a dual credit English 1301 course from Hill College that is affecting students that ironically included several that were here tonight being acknowledged for their outstanding academic achievements. An issue that involves an item that's also on tonight's agenda, AI. I've reached out through the proper channels and gotten no response from the principal, the superintendent, nor an acceptable response from the counselor who stated that I had to take it up with the Hill College dean as Venus will not get involved. I'm here to inform that I will escalate as high as I need to go to advocate for my student. The Hill College professor for the class is using AI detection software to potentially fail our students as part of her rule that no use of AI should be allowed in the classroom. The professor is accusing several students of not writing their own essays, but using AI technology to write them instead. The hypocrisy of using AI detection software, in itself AI backed, to grade our students should not be lost here. According to my student, the professor has stated she does not read the essays prior to running them through the detectors, instead making that the first step of her grading process. If the essays are detected as having any portion of AI writing, the student receives a grade of 0. This is apparently not an isolated incident, as classmates that took the professor last year have told my student that in order to pass, he has to dumb down his papers in order to get past the AI detectors. The majority of AI detector websites specifically state the technology should not be used in this manner. If the technology is to be used, it should be part of a holistic approach with human interpretation being the largest component. Setting aside that AI detectors are notoriously unreliable and prone to errors, with countless studies and tests stating as such, that reliance on detectors shifts focus from substantive feedback to mechanical scrutiny, depriving students of actual meaningful learning, the mistrust and anxiety that is being fostered by constant unsubstantiated accusations that can reduce student motivation and damage self-esteem, or the broader ethical standpoint of who is liable when these detectors err, the teacher, the school, or a tech company that is making a profit off of these tests. I want to discuss the lack of support being provided to our students. These students are still Venus ISD students, and at the end of the day are trying to graduate from Venus High School. The dual credit course is a bonus. When issues like this arise and questions are asked by parents, we are told that Venus will provide no assistance and we are on our own to advocate for our child. Even though the school is aware of the issue, nothing is done. That is, except for a classroom announcement by the counselor making the same accusations against our students without providing any proof, except the computer said you cheated, so it must be true. If Venus is going to offer these opportunities to our students, then Venus administrators need to be more diligent in vetting out the professors that they are subjecting our students to. What is the point of having this dual credit class if it does not actually teach them anything except for how to game the system? Why is it acceptable for Venus ISD to state they will not get involved when they are ultimately responsible for the students in their school? Especially because these types of issues affect not only our students' college futures, but also their high school graduation. The goal for all of us is a quality education for our students, but this course and this professor are failing this test. I'm sure if this was a school administrator's child, there would probably be a different response than what parents are getting. Thank you.
We'll go to item number 6, public hearing to discuss Venus Independent School District State Financial Accountability Rating. Mrs. Page?
Good evening. Tonight I'm here to talk about the School First Rating, otherwise known as the Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas. This is the 24-25 first report. However, it's based on the 23-24 financial data. So just a couple things. One is the points. So to get an A or an superior achievement, you must get 90 points. A B, above standard, 80 to 89. C, meets standard achievement, 70 to 79. And F, substandard achievement, 0 to 69. I'm proud to say that Venus ISD received a 98 out of a possible 100, which is up 2 points from the prior year. So the 2 points that we gained was on the correlation between future debt requirements and the district's assessed property value. Last year we got 8 points, and this year we received the full 10. That's all, unless there's any more questions about it.
Anybody have any questions? Are there any public comments? No? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Go to item number 7, presentation on campus reports.
All right, good evening. Turns out, without introducing our staff members, mine is really short. So, October is a wonderful time. It's a long time, a long stretch of time without a break, but great things are happening at the primary school. We are prepping for Red Ribbon Week next week. We're going to do a trunk or treat. Fall Fun Day, where we do an indoor field day. So that's just a great activity to get parents in the building. And then last week we held our first ever, our bilingual classes hosted their first ever Hispanic Heritage Month parade. So it was the coolest thing. About 150 students. They dressed up in their best Hispanic cultural attire. They made signs of all the South American countries. And so it was wonderful. We had music, and then we had about 50 plus parents attend in the morning. So great event, and I'd love to be able to show y'all pictures next month. But other than that, we're good to go. Thank you.
There you go. Okay, we finally have our 4th grade bilingual teacher that we have been waiting on. She is still waiting on the results of her test, but in the meantime, she is doing a fantastic job in the classroom with our kiddos. So we're excited about that. We finished our first CBA, and we're working towards tracking our data and doing some interventions. The fun stuff has been this whole month we have spent time celebrating the Hispanic Heritage Month. Also, our 5th graders researched, did posters, did crafts, things like that, and set that out in our library. So that was exciting for the kiddos. And we also had celebrated our custodians on Custodian Appreciation Day. The kids throughout the day took flowers to them random times throughout the day. Also, along with our Heritage Month, I have pictures, but I didn't get them on time to get on here. Our kids got together, the 4th grade group got together, and we had authentic Mexican food. We had crafts, we had games, we had fun. We had so many parents come and support that and make the food for us. And kids rotated from station to station learning about their Hispanic culture that a lot of their friends celebrate. So that was our highlight for this month. Okay? Thank you. Mm-hmm.
All right. Middle school, things going on at the middle school. We started our new bell schedule this week with some built-in intervention time during the day to work with kids, but we've been doing after-school tutoring. So as of when I submitted the board report, we had completed 575 hours of after-school intervention with 124 students. So the teachers are working very hard at that time and working with kiddos. We have about 120 to 125 students staying each week for after-school intervention. On top of now we are doing during the day. We have math and ELA did their first CBAs, and so we've had data meetings with those teachers and working on plans for addressing those gaps. Our attendance, we have an attendance challenge going, so the month of September we were at 96%. We're doing lots of challenges. We have a Zern challenge for one of the online programs they're doing. We have a Lexia challenge, so we are doing all kinds of things. Kids at middle school love competition, so I guess our fun thing, we did some climate stuff with our teachers. October was our murder mystery, so we had, out of 42 teachers, we had about 25 stay after school, and we did a murder mystery, and I was not the murderer this year, and I did not get murdered this year, so it was good. So, all right, thank y'all.
Is it on? Okay. First thing I want to say is how proud I am of the kiddos that just got their awards, their academics. They put a lot of hard work in. And if you notice, a lot of them are good students, but that translates out to being good in band and cheerleading and other things and out in the community. So that's always refreshing to see. Okay, we celebrated Custodial Day, and these ladies, especially the ladies on the day shift, are genuinely a part of the school. And she pretty well, Doña Hilda, pretty well is in charge of the hallway and the cafeteria. I was told to pick up a piece of paper I walked by today, and I happily did it. So she cares about that place like she does her own home. On the next one, we have FFA. We all know this is a busy time for shows. And what you're seeing is the Heart of Texas in Waco. We had our cattle students haul their livestock. Nicole Smith came in second out of 24 with her, I hope I say this right, Santa Gertrude's. Her, thank you. Okay, so she's a little bitty thing, but she likes those, the cows. I don't know how that happened, but she's good with it. Football is still going. Our boys are still leaving it out on the field, and I took this picture because it pretty well embodied, I guess, community and pride. I looked up, and Colton was in the coach's chair, and he was actually doing some instruction. He was actually telling the lower classmen, their read, what to do, and some were getting upset and a little heated, and he calmed them down. And as I looked over, the coaches looked at him, and they let him go on. So I think he's got coaching in his future. We had teacher appreciation, and this is one of many of my favorite events. It's always good to see the kids select their teachers. Here you have Miss Torres. As you can see, she has 6 different kiddos that picked her. So they make a difference, just that 1 year. They seem to always come back to that teacher. It makes a difference in their educational journey there. And then we have band, as I like to say, the best band in the land. This picture was taken when they were at the Wildcat Marching Contest, and out of 23 bands, I think they placed 10th. And that was good practice because this last week they were at UIL, and for the 6th straight year they received straight ones. So they're headed to area, and they will be at the Denton Collins Stadium. I think it's 12:30, 1:30, 12:30, 12:30. So we're kind of excited to see what they have for us. Saturday, Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And then the last picture we have is our National Honor Society blood drive. Miss Pratt on the left has taken this over because she was in National Honor Society all through high school. And they signed up for the blood drive. We had 57 donors, and 53 of them, 53 units were collected. And I found out that the reason being, on the other 4, 2 of them fainted, 1 of them backed out, and the other one, her iron was too low. So I learned a lot at that blood drive. But all in all, they collected about $1,000. So that was a good kickoff for them. That's always good to see as well. For upcoming events, we have PSAT tomorrow. We have the parent conference scheduled for the 7th, or PD Day. And Upward Bound is on their second weekend college tour on November the 15th. And I think this time they're going to UT Tyler, and they will be in LSU in Louisiana. So that program really gets them to different universities. Thank you.
Item number 8, presentation of emergency.
I have a question about the car show.
Item number 8, presentation of emergent bilingual program annual report. Ms. Roden?
Well, I have 2 goals tonight, and they would be, number 1, for me to cover all of the things that TEA requires that we cover in an annual report, and to keep it under 10 minutes if I can. And I promise I will do my best on that. We report in October of 2025 about the EB program in 24-25. You want me to use this? Okay. The first thing that the template asks me to do is to remind you guys that Chapter 89 is the governing document for special populations, specifically subchapter BB for our emergent bilingual population, also known as English language learners. And there are 4 types of bilingual program, and you must choose one. There are 2 types of ESL program, and you may use one or the other or both. So for us, our bilingual program in grades pre-K through 5 is dual language immersion one way, and that means the students that participate in that program are emergent bilingual students learning 2 languages. We have ESL content-based, primarily at our primary and our elementary, and that basically means that the majority of their teachers are ESL certified, and so in their 4 core contents, they have an ESL certified teacher. For those who are participating in that program, they have a certified teacher all day. And it changes a little bit when we get to middle school and high school. The requirement there is that all of our English teachers have ESL certification. And we don't pull those students out to any special place. It's just by definition, pull out means that only their English teacher has the ESL cert. So here are definitions of the one-way program. And for us, the one-way program is English-Spanish, and the students are taught in both languages as close to 50% of the time in each language as we can. We want the reading teachers we really want all of the teachers in the dual language program to have bilingual certification, but definitely those that are teaching reading, which we do. We do not have quite enough bilingual teachers this year. However, if they are paired in groups of 2, you may pair a bilingual teacher with an ESL teacher, and the bilingual teacher teaches the Spanish language, arts and reading, and science and social studies in Spanish, and the ESL teacher teaches math and the English language arts and reading. And we have that in several grade levels this year. And the goal is at the end of 5th grade for those students to be biliterate, fluency in the oral language, and fluency in reading and writing. And there's the content-based ESL program, which I've really already given quite a bit of explanation to, but content-based means they have an ESL certified teacher for in the 4 content areas: reading, math, science, and social studies. And the goal of that program is for the English learners to attain full proficiency in English. And they are able to have some support in Spanish as needed. And the pullout again is for students who are in secondary programs where their English teacher is the only one of their 4 core teachers who have ESL certification. Of course, we would like to have more at both secondary campuses, but this is an acceptable and legal way to serve our students. We also serve those secondary students in a variety of other ways that are above and beyond what TEA requires us to do. At middle school, we have 2 avid Excel teachers, and that is part of the avid program, but it is a different curriculum than the avid elective. Only ESL students are in that program, and we have 2 teachers that spend the majority of their day teaching those support classes. At high school, we have avid elective for any student, but we have lots of ESL students that participate in the avid elective, and we also have 2 paraprofessionals that are bilingual at high school that can push into the classroom and provide support for the ESL students. All right, these were the number of students enrolled in each program in each grade on each campus last year, and you can read those numbers for yourself, but B is obviously for bilingual and E is for ESL. The reason we have ESL in pre-K through grade 5, even though we have bilingual, is that it is the parent's choice when we have that first LPAC about which program they choose for their students. You can see that most are choosing the bilingual program compared to the ESL program, but some of our students at the primary and elementary level are in ESL because our bilingual program is a Spanish bilingual program, and we do have students who join us from other districts and from other countries whose first language is not Spanish. We have Chinese, we have Urdu, we have several other language, maybe just 1 or 2 students in each of those languages, but we provide their services through the ESL program. And the state doesn't actually require that I report this, but starting in grade 2, have counted the number of students who are in their first 3 years in the United States, and you can see that there's 37 district-wide, and how many there are in each grade level. In grades 2 through 5, much easier to serve them because they have a bilingual teacher. And we moved to ESL in 6 through 12. You've already seen the Telpaz composite scores. Ms. Camacho has reported that as part of her required assessment and accountability report. But I will remind you that these are students K through 12. There are not 665 students, but there are 4 tests for each of the students. And the 9% are our students who scored at the beginning level. And most of those students are kindergarten and first graders and the newcomers that you saw on the previous slide. Then we have 41 at the intermediate level of proficiency, 39% at the advanced level of proficiency, and 11% at the advanced high level of proficiency on the composite score. And so those 72 students that are part of that 11% are the only students who are eligible to exit from the ESL designation last year. The other requirement for exit besides the advanced high TELPAS composite is to pass reading language arts and in 3 through 8 and English 1 or English 2 at the high school. So if a student has that advanced high composite, they pass reading, they pass English 1, or they pass English 2. Those are the students that meet all the requirements for being able to exit. So you can see here that in our district, grades 3 through 8, we had 65% score approaches and higher on their reading test. And for EB students, we had 47% at approaches and higher. Math, 48% of Venus students in grades 3 through 8 scored at approaches or higher on their math, their grade level math star. And EB students 3 through 8, 34% scored 34% or higher. Now moving to high school, English 1 and English 2. 62% of our freshmen and sophomores scored approaches or higher on their STAR, their EOC exam, English 1 and English 2 EOC exams. We're not quite as proud of our EB students' approaches and higher percentage. That was 27%, but we have a lot of things in place for this year to help to support that being higher. And we did have 8 additional students above that 20%, 27% that passed their summer retest. Algebra, 64% for all students, and 39% for EB students, with an additional 7 passing the summer retest. Biology, 91% passed in the spring, and 73% of the EB students passed in the spring, with 2 additional students passing in the summer. U.S. history, 93%, and for all students, and 86% for EB students. $53 students in the grades that are indicated there met those criteria for TELPAS Advanced High Composite and passing their reading or English 1, English 2 EOCs. These are the number of teachers that received bilingual ESL professional development during the year last year. By grade level, these are some of the professional development sessions that we offered. Those are some more of the professional development sessions that we offered. Now, I omitted Venus Primary, probably shouldn't have. They just required me to report on those students in STAR and EOC grades, but I will say that Venus Primary, their intervention plans are different than the other campuses because their students are younger and because the classroom teacher takes care of the interventions for those kids in pre-K, K, and first. Last year, Venus Elementary was 30 minutes at the beginning of the day, and last year, middle school and high school were after school, and you've already heard Mrs. Buck speak to the fact that they are going to continue after school, plus they'll have their genius mindset during the school day. And high school will have Bulldog U. And Mrs. Whitworth, your students, you are planning right now for your students to have intervention how many days a week?
2 days right now.
2 days right now.
The other two are going to be used for building the rigor with multiplication facts, addition facts, all those things.
Excellent. These were the parent involvement activities for each campus last year. Each campus is required to hold one, and we're required to hold one that is for the community, which is the last one. You heard Ms. Ortiz and Ms. Whitworth talk about how they've already had 2 celebrations during the school day, but we will all have one at night before the year draws to a close. This is how we recruited. This is how we helped the teachers who did not have their certification but were teaching in the bilingual and ESL positions. That's how we supported them with test preparation. And below you will see how we provided for stipends for them and for what reasons. Last year, 3 of 7 obtained the appropriate certification. We had 7 last year. We're going to have 7 again this year. And if anyone has a question about what our biggest challenges are with our EB students, I would say it has been making sure that we had all of the positions filled with teachers who spoke the right language and had the right certification. And sometimes the 3 who met their goals last year may not even be in Venus ISD this year. They may have gone on to another district to work. So that has been a challenge. As well. I promise you don't want me to click on the link for the exception waiver from last year. That's the document that we have to complete and send to TEA by November 1 every year if we don't have the right number of certified teachers in each grade level. The print is very small, and it will take quite a while to go over that plan, but that link is live, and you've probably already looked at that when you have looked at your board packets. It was approved last February 26, and in 24-25, we were looking at 23-24 state assessment scores. And so we actually met level A for 23-24. And that's comparing EB student state average to EB student state average in the state, not comparing non-EB to EB students. We met the goals in the plan, and we decreased the number of teachers under the Spanish exception last year. That's why they approved the plan. And this gives you the guidelines for why we're here together tonight, sharing this information. Number one, because you need to know this information, and number two, TA requires that we share that information. And I believe that is the last slide. Any questions from anyone that their report may have triggered?
Any questions? No. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. We'll go to item number 9, AI update. Dr. Fudge?
Thank you. Okay, so thank you for having me here tonight. I'm excited to update you about what we're doing in the district with this and kind of where we've come and where we are now. So we started in 2023 with the AI committee. We wanted to be very purposeful and intentional about how we were going to do this in the district. So we asked a few stakeholders to get together, and we had meetings throughout the year of 2023 and 2024. And through those meetings, we had AI trials determining how we wanted to use it in the classroom with students. We updated our acceptable use policy so that we had AI in our acceptable use policy about what is correct and incorrect usage of it, as well as staff and student guidelines for use of AI at the district level. Then we moved into the initial implementation plan, which was last year, where we focused at the high school level with specifically implementing AI intelligent tutors with our students and our staff members. We did this because we really wanted to focus in on individualization and personalization for our students, and the teachers had control over the entire AI platform. They could see the student chats, they could block the chats, they got flagged if there was inappropriate conversations happening. We really wanted to focus in on making sure that we were using it in the correct way. Students were also trained on AI use that year, and we specifically taught them AI literacy skills, prompt engineering, how to use it, and when to use it. And I met with PLCs every 6 weeks last year to keep updated about how it was going in the classroom. This year, moving into, that goes over the teacher side of last year's focus, where it was the teachers created the AI tutors. They were based on standards, content, and outcomes. We also assessed student outcomes because they had integrated quizzes within the intelligent tutor that teachers could see whether the students mastered what they wanted them to master. And again, we had the ability to completely control that system and integrate it within Canvas as well, so we could truly differentiate using it in Canvas. On the student side, we focused on background knowledge, filling in those gaps, because we have students that come to us that have so many gaps, especially at the high school level, that we don't have time in the classroom to fill in. So to give them their own, basically, intelligent tutor to support them was very powerful. A lot of students used it as a research assistant as well, a writing partner, and for that personalized learning piece. So this is some of last year's data. And I even put in some excerpts of some tutors that some teachers had created. That is the introduction to the tutor, so that is what the tutor was supposed to be working with the student on. And you can see that we had 84,673 total student prompts. That is every time a student went in and asked the tutor to help them with something, that's how many times that happened. But you can see that we had 189 custom tutors created. That is what our teachers created. And 1,602 custom tutor chats. That is the group of prompts that our students used within the custom tutors our teachers made. What really kind of made me really happy was I saw this being used not just in our core classes, but our music appreciation teacher at the high school was using it to help the students learn music history, which was really interesting to me. Then moving on, we are working on refining our plan this year. The first year of implementation is never smooth. We all know that. So this year we're taking what we learned last year and we're refining it. We're moving forward with the program at the high school, and we are focusing in on students and how they evaluate the outcomes and use it within their classroom. At middle school, we are focusing on AI literacy because we moved the AI tool down to the middle school this year. But we also got a grant for a program called CuraPod because we really want to focus on writing across the curriculum. And what CuraPod does is students can go in and they answer a question, an open-ended question, and they get immediate feedback that the teacher can see, and then the student rewrites using that feedback. They're not waiting on the teacher to give them feedback a day later. They get that immediate feedback. Then, based on the feedback, they rewrite what they need to fix, and the teacher can support that with the reports and the ability to see everything on their side. We did train students again at the middle school campus about AI literacy, how to use the program that we're implementing, and we did do teacher training as well. This year I'm going in every 4 weeks to PLCs instead of every 6, so I'm there more often, and I am working on updating and focusing on teacher-student use and the integration plans. That way we can be more flexible and up to date with what we're working on. This is something that we're really refining this year, is conversations with our students around AI use, when to use it, when not to use it, evaluating the outputs, and those prompting strategies. This is a profile of an AI-ready graduate that ISD came out with. These are the skills that the workforce is looking for when students graduate to use AI in the classroom. So when they go into the job force, they need to have these skills, because I can tell you, I've seen what people are posting on the job post, and they're looking for people that know how to use AI productively. It's no longer have AI do your work. No, you have to be a partner with it, and you cannot miss the human element piece. So that's what we're having conversations with our students about, is you cannot leave the human element piece out. And so these are the skills that we're really trying to figure out and work with our students on. And this is some of our initial data and some tutors from this year. We have 25,779 total student prompts this year. We have already had 62 custom tutors made, compared to 189 at the end of last year. I say that we're moving forward pretty good with our teachers using this to create those custom tutors for students. And as you can see, some of these tutors are actually pretty interesting, the way our teachers try to get our students engaged with learning the content. So, questions. I made it short so you could ask questions, and so it would be 10 minutes.
Anybody have any questions? No? Okay, thank you. Yeah.
My question would be, when we're training the students, it's one thing to train them on how to use AI, but it's another thing to train them on the detriments of AI.
Yes,
So
exactly.
I know we had a presentation earlier, but are we training them on proper use of AI?
Yes.
Here's a way to use it, but here's also a way to double check to make sure you're not violating any rules or copyright laws or anything like that.
Yes, that's part of the refinement stage that we're working on now. There is a checklist called Every that we are going to be implementing, where the students go through this checklist when they get an output to double check that it is correct, that there's nothing in there, because we know AI can be wrong. So we want our students to be able to double check their information and then to take it and put their own voice, their own piece into it, because that is one of the most important steps of using AI, is that last piece where you evaluate that outcome and take it and do something with it. So we are implementing that this year. And I will tell you that at the beginning of the school year, one of the things that we have started doing with our dual credit students is we have been training them on academic use and AI integrity. And one of the things that we do is I go in there and I actually teach a lesson about the correct use and the incorrect use and how to follow a syllabus and when you are supposed to use it and when you're not.
Do we have a tool within our AI platform that allows them to self-check their work? I know for those, when my kids went through school, Grammarly was about all you could use. You had to get a subscription to Grammarly. Do we have something in our platform that allows them to double check their work to make sure their work doesn't get flagged?
No, because the platform that we are using is teacher created and the teachers can see everything that they're doing in there. So if they're using it to help them edit their work, the teacher can see what they've done with editing their work. This is used at the high school campus. So we don't ask them to really check their work to see if it's going to get flagged because the teachers are the ones that are guiding them through the use.
Any other questions?
You said that the teachers write these tutors.
Yes,
right?
the teachers create them.
What training did the teachers get on the AI and everything that taught them how to do that, how to do it properly, what to look for? What type of training do the staff get?
That is where the additional in-service comes in, and that is where myself going into PLCs every 4 weeks, because I am keeping up with the usage data, I am keeping up with everything on the back end for this to make sure that we are trying to implement it correctly. I am having conversations with teachers, I am having conversations with students sometimes to see how it is working and how it is doing. So I am very flexible by being able to go in to the PLCs every 4 weeks. So I'm at the middle school every 4 weeks and at the high school every 4 weeks to have these conversations around how it is being used and to make sure that the teachers are truly trained on it and they know how to make these effective intelligent tutors.
Was there a training course? Was there I mean, obviously you know how to use this.
Yes.
What type of training was used and how long were these teachers trained on how to use this? I realize you go in and check that, but what was their initial training?
Their initial training was an hour and a half during August in-service.
Okay.
Where at the high school campus last year, it was myself and my trial teachers who had used the platform before. So my teachers that were actually knowledgeable about the platform in the classroom assisted in the training with the teachers last year at the high school campus. This year at the middle school campus, it was an hour and a half again. And I had one of my teachers from the high school that is an amazing use case for this, came down and helped me train the teachers as well so that he could answer specific questions about how he utilized it in his classroom. So we made sure that they were truly trained on this and they receive ongoing training as well. So if there's anything that the system updates about, I find out, I go in and we do update trainings.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I ask a question on the back end for the teachers? Because I heard you say when the students were doing their work, we're running it through to see if it's flagged.
Yes.
So are we also doing the same with like the teachers? If they're going through and they're running it through and it's flagging, right? Because we're asking our students to double check their work, we're double checking the output, and then our teachers are running it through saying, hey, this is flagged. Because I heard the parents say we're accusing students of X, Y, and Z.
No.
So is our teachers, ultimately, if it flags, are we then going in independently and reviewing that work to see if it also made an error reading the student's work?
When I say flagged, I meant that there has been inappropriate content used within the chat. So if a student is asking the chat to do something that was inappropriate or using language that was inappropriate or something that was concerning, the teacher gets a notification and so does the principal as well, so that they can handle that right there. However, we do not have anything that flags AI use for the student's actual work.
Yeah, that was the way I understood it. It's like back in the, well, I'll say the older days, when, you know, you wrote your paper, you plugged it into Grammarly, and Grammarly sent it back that said, you know, a third of your paper has been plagiarized. Go back and rewrite.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was understanding. The parent.
Our platform only flags
Inappropriate
content. So it doesn't flag whether or not.
Because the tutor is there to support the student in gaining knowledge and the back end and trying to support them with the piece that the teacher really wants them to work on. For example, if a student is struggling with, well, I'll give an example. A teacher is teaching in physics class and there are 4 content specific concepts that he wants to get taught to the class. He can assign a tutor that helps the students investigate those concepts, then determining which one they most engaged with. He assigns that student to be with a group of other students that were invested in that content. They create a lesson and then teach the rest of the class about that content. So the tutor kind of supports their learning, but doesn't really do the learning for them.
So outside of the tutor, what other AI tools are we using? Like, what other AI tools are the teachers using just in dual credit classrooms, right? Because again, I have a daughter who's doing that through biology, right? And she would submit a lab report and she would get a kickback from her teacher saying,
I have no control over what is done during dual credit. I only train the teachers that are Venus ISD teachers. And I can tell you right now, based on myself just going through college, that there are teachers that say no AI, there are some teachers that say some AI. It is truly up to the college professor how they determine what the students do in their classroom. And I'm telling you that as a student who was in college just a little while ago, that the professor is truly the one that makes that decision. Most colleges don't have an AI policy. They leave it up to the professor. And so for Venus, because we are a high school and because we have students, we do have a policy and we do have a program, but that does not correlate to what Hill College does.
so we're only monitoring and managing just this program with the tutors. So, and I understand like the dual credit teachers are through Hill College, but they can't be our teachers, right? Like, so they're not all of our dual credit or all of our, because biology, she was one of, last year she was one of ours,
Yes.
but she also taught the dual credit program.
Yes.
So,
And so
she
then it
is one
was-
of our teachers essentially. So that's kind of was my question is,
Then
are
it's up to
there-
her.
So it will be up to her to use that. So again, I think that was my question. So if we're monitoring AI, are we only monitoring this program, or as a district, are we monitoring it all?
Well, there's no way you can
There's
monitor all
no,
of it. I mean,
there's really no way that we can monitor all of it. We have shut down almost like every single other AI system is blocked for students. They cannot get to any other AI system but the one that we are allowing through our firewall. So we have it blocked on our school devices. That's not to say that they can't do it on their home devices. We have no control over that. But as far as their school devices, we have blocked every other AI system besides the ones that we have vetted and we know are appropriate for our students. So we have blocked everything else. For our teachers, we have asked them to only use 2 different AI platforms, Google Gemini and Microsoft Copilot, because we have an enterprise subscription with them and our data is safe and protected. So we are being very intentional about how we are looking at this, and we are being very aware of the things that are going on and trying to pivot and meet the needs, but still protect our students and prepare them for the future as well.
And great job. I know you're reporting on our platform, but in general AI, my question is a very general question of not necessarily related to you, just in education in general.
It's okay.
Are we in the day of AI, which is on the national news every day?
Yes.
Are we training our kids that? Yes, I would almost say, yeah, you should use AI to help you write papers. I'd be ridiculous not to. We're using it for lesson plans and everything else. But here, make sure when you do that, here are tools that you can use to go back and double check to make sure, because sometimes your summaries are maybe a little more less summary and a little more copying. So I just didn't know that was a general, not necessarily related to you, just in general of, are we training our kids that if you're going to use AI, use the checks and balances that come with AI to use them effectively and efficiently and legally, because in college, you get ousted.
Yes.
They kick you out of college.
That is true. And so again, it goes back to training our students to know when to use it, when not to use it, and that they have to follow the rules of the institution that they're at. And not just that.
That would fall on principals, not on what you do as in your capacity with the district to train students on proper AI usage.
What that does is it falls on me to train the teachers to help train the students. So that's part of the PLC training piece, is to go in and have conversations with teachers about how to have conversations with students, about how to get students to evaluate it. And yes, it is a big thing out there in the world right now, and there are so many districts that are battling with this same thing, but compared to other districts that are just beginning this process, we are a little bit further along.
Any other questions? No. Thank you.
Of course.
Go to item number 10, P-TECH update. Mrs. Camacho.
Okay, we're here to give you a quick update on our P-TECH program. Next slide, please. All right, so current enrollment for the P-TECH program, we are at 127 designated P-TECH students, and that's in grades 9 through 11, and that is in 5 programs of study. So in our 11th grade cohort, which is our highest cohort, we have 35 students, and for that cohort, we only offered 3 programs of study, so they're in welding, teaching, and cybersecurity. For our 10th grade cohort, we have 42 students. And that year for that cohort, we began adding, we added 2 more programs of study. So the students in 10th grade are divided across 5 programs of study. And for our 9th grade cohort, which is our current freshman cohort, we have 50 current P-TECH students. And that's across those same 5 programs of study. So welding, teaching, cybersecurity, criminal justice, and animal science. For next year's cohort, our goal is to continue. If you look at the cohort numbers, they've grown each year. And so our goal is to continue increasing those cohort numbers each year through recruitment, through some things that we do in the program, and also as we increase our capacity to serve those students. Associate degree progress. So here's some progress on the ultimate goal of each P-TECH student is to get an associate's degree when they graduate. So for our 11th grade cohort, 13 are on track to graduate with their associate's degree. For our 10th grade cohort, 32 are on track to graduate with their associate's degree. And for our 9th grade cohort, students are taking their first college class, so right now everybody's on track. We hope to keep it that way. Even if a student is not on track to graduate with their associate's degree, they still can. There's still a way we still can catch them up. We have certain things that we do. We do a summer bridge. They can take summer courses. The main reason that a student would not be on track for their associate's degree is because they're not TSI met by the right time, which we're going to talk about that some more in the next slide. And then even if a student does not graduate with their associate's degree, they can still graduate with up to 60 hours of dual credit classes. And usually even if a student does not have their associate's degree, they can still graduate with a level 1 or level 2 certificate or an industry-based certification in that area. And even if a student does not graduate with their associate's degree, we still support them in year 5 and year 6. So a big pillar of the P-TECH program is support after graduation for students. And so if they're 1 class or 2 classes short of their associate's degree, once they graduate, then they still receive our support to go on and do that. And okay, next slide, please.
I have a question. When you say
Sure.
support, what do you mean by that?
So year 5 and year 6 support is something that we haven't done yet, so we haven't delved into it because we don't have a cohort there yet. But basically, we have crosswalks and we have agreements with both community colleges like the ones that we use, Hill College, we use Tarleton. We also have crosswalks with some 4-year universities, and so that allows those students to continue. So as P-TECH students, we are required to support them in year 5 and year 6. Once they're graduated, they're still, even though they're graduated and they're no longer ours, they're still our student. So our cohort's not there yet. So we have some general ideas about what that looks like. But until we get to year 5, also students who do not go on in their chosen program of study do not receive support. So it's if they were in a teaching and training program and then they want to continue in teaching and training, then that's how we continue to support them. And a lot of that is through our agreements with those universities.
But when you're saying support, are you talking about they can call and get help? Are we talking financial support? Like, what does support look like?
There's financial support, but it's funded differently for P-TECH. And so it's funded differently for those 5 and 6 year students. And we don't really know what that looks like yet because we don't know. I mean, there's numbers per student, but we don't know how many students that we will have in year 5 and year 6. So that funding is different for P-TECH students.
And I know you got more presentation to go, but so a student is entering 10th grade, is not TSI compliant. They've taken I think there's 9 hours of possibilities, 3 classes they can take without TSI?
Depending on the student. So we go to the next slide, and I think this will answer your question. I believe this is TSI. Well, no, it's the next slide, but just as a cumulative for at the end of May of 2025 of last year, our P-Tech students have completed 768 hours of dual credit classes. And that is in those 2 years of cohorts. So, okay, next slide. All right, TSI. So, students in cybersecurity, teaching, and animal science need to be ELAR and writing complete by the end of their 9th grade year. Those are the most academically rigorous programs of study, and so if a student is not TSI complete, then it potentially puts them off course, usually by one class, and that's usually their dual credit US history that they would normally take in 10th grade. And so now if they're not TSI met, they can't take that class yet. And so we have to get them some additional support that year. And then they're still able to graduate, they're still able to do everything, but potentially that pushes that class back 1 year for them. Or even 2 years for them to get their associate's degree. So the welding and criminal justice, they need to be ELAR and writing complete by the end of their 11th grade year. So they have a little bit more time and support. And then we also have another thing that we're doing to support the students to be TSI complete is we do our dual credit math classes a little different. We have a program called Tarleton Today. And Tarleton Today is a special kind of program. It's considered dual enrollment and not dual credit. And what that means is a student that takes a college algebra class, one, they do not have to be TSI met to take it. But once they take and pass the class, then they are TSI met because them taking a 3-hour dual credit class automatically makes them TSI met for math. So this is a really good opportunity for students who might struggle. Our Tarleton Today teacher that we have is she's our employee. She's our teacher. She's wonderful. But what it does is it also takes, she's specially trained by Tarleton, also a dual credit teacher. But it takes like a 3-hour, 1 semester college algebra class and it extends it over a whole year. And so they get the high school credit, but they also get the math credit, but it can slow it down a little bit for them instead of, putting it in a semester. It's able to take that semester class and really extend it out over a whole year. So students.
College credit, it's just TSI credit. High school credit and a TSI credit.
No, it's college credit. It's college algebra. But once they take and pass college algebra or statistics, we also offer statistics through Tarleton Today. So like they would take college algebra, which is math 13, 14, they can take it through Hill College. They have to be TSI met to do that. It's a semester class. And depending on, some of them might take it online, some of them might take it hybrid. But if they take the Tarleton Today class, which 95% of our students take math through our Tarleton Today dual credit classes, then one, it allows them to spread it out over the whole year. It gives them extra support. It works the same way. They're getting they're getting a college credit from Tarleton instead of a college credit from Hill College. But once they take and pass that class with a C or higher, then what that does is that meets, because they've taken and passed a dual credit math class, now they say, okay, you don't need to take TSI. Obviously, you can handle the class. So it's a little way around it. Yes, it's a dual credit class.
Not dual credit, dual enrollment.
Well, it's considered dual enrollment because of the way they do it, because they do get a high school grade. Yes, they can. They can accept or deny the college credit, yes. It is done a little different. They make sure that we use the verbiage dual enrollment instead of dual credit, but yes, they get the dual credit for it. They can actually accept or deny credit, which is another really cool feature of it. So let's say a student does get in there and is really struggling, they can decide not to accept credit, and then they get a chance to do it again and try again next year, and it's not putting necessarily a low grade on their transcript. Their college transcript is going to go on there forever. So there's a lot of good features of that program, but that is a really we've had a lot of success with that program. TSI math is usually a harder component for students to pass than ELAR. And so students are able, if they're not ready yet, they can go ahead and take that class. They get the extra support. Once they pass the class, then they don't have to worry about taking the test anymore, and they move on.
Is there not an equivalent for English?
No. There's not. Now, Tarleton Today are adding class. Tarleton Today program is brand new. It started like 3 years ago with one class. And so they are adding classes. And so I'm not sure what it looks like. It may be in the future. They added like 10 classes this year. There are requirements that you have to meet. And so that may be something we can look at in the future.
So at the end of my 10th grade year, I'm still not TSI compliant in English. Am I out of the program or
No, not
because I can't take English I can't take 1301 as a junior.
Right. You're not out of the program, but now you're out of your course sequence. So you can still be a PTech student. You're off track to complete your associate's degree, and you're going to take regular English 3. We're going to get you some help for TSI. We're doing some things like TSI boot camps. We have some special preparation that we're doing for them. And then once they still have the opportunity to take that course, either the second semester, summer, or their senior year, if they want to get their associate's degree. If not, then they still have their other dual credit. They're still on track to either get, depending on the program, level 1, level 2 certificates, IBCs, whatever that is. So,
but aren't they stuck? Now they haven't passed at the end of their 10th grade year, aren't they stuck? They can't take any more college hours because they haven't passed. They're not ELAR.
it depends on the class. So like welding, for example.
I don't want to take up your whole
Yes.
life. It's just, it's very, I was wanting to look at our PTech numbers. They seem to be down, so I was wondering, are they dropping out of the program? Are they getting halted or what? So that's what I was trying to figure out, but it's maybe a later conversation.
Yeah, and I do have I have some more information here at the end too. That if y'all want more information, y'all can come join, because we have a couple of events that we're doing. Any more questions about TSI?
Yeah, I have a question. When do we first start taking the TSI?
Depending on the program. So for your cybersecurity teaching and animal science program, we start taking it the end of their 8th grade year. So first time is the end of their 8th grade year, because they have to, we give them every opportunity. We do a summer bridge. So if they take it at the end of their 8th grade year, and let's say they didn't do very well, that's part of something that we can do in summer bridge for them. And then we give it to them, they have 4 opportunities to take it every year.
So in 11th grade, we only have 5 students who are TSI complete. Am I reading that right?
For both ELAR and math, yes.
But they need all of it.
Yes, but those students, some of those students are in the Tarleton Today program, so they have not taken math. So they may be complete. They have actually taken, our cybersecurity students, they took math, because the cybersecurity program of study has a little bit more rigorous upper level math. So they had to take the TSI math. Now that we have the Tarleton Today program, a lot of our 11th grade students, like you'll see 16 are ELAR and writing complete. So 16 students are ELAR and writing complete. They may not have taken math because they're in the Tarleton Today class this year.
Oh, okay.
So they didn't have to. So they didn't take it and not pass it, but we went Tarleton Today. So for those students, we did not test all of them for TSI
and then
math.
Can you go back one slide?
Mm-hmm.
So we've earned 768 dual credit hours. Do you know what the number is before we went to P-TECH? Because we used to do dual credit hours.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many we earned before we actually had a P-TECH program?
Not off the top of my head. I can look it up for you.
Okay.
And this is just P-TECH dual credit for P-TECH students. So we also have, I do have the number of regular dual credit hours as well compared to this. But this is just P-TECH students. This is not all of our dual credit.
And then this is from the beginning of when we started the program.
Yeah, so this is a 2 years, because since this is at the end of last year, this is the students that are in both 9th and 10th grade, any dual credit hours that they have earned in those 2 years.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so P-TECH designation status update. So 2022-2023 was a planning year for us. 2023 to 2028, this is what's considered a provisional phase. So this is years 1 through 5. This is our 3rd year in the provisional phase. Everybody has to do provisional phase. And then what happens is once you graduate your first cohort of P-TECH students, then you'll be able to formally apply for an actual designation status by TEA. So currently we are on track to earn our designation status by meeting the P-TECH blueprint design elements, and that includes a whole bunch of data, including all of our testing data, as well as our student demographic data, their success for each cohort, what they do after, all of those things. So we have to submit that every year. We actually just finished submitting our P-TECH application for this year and for next year. All right, this is the last slide, but I did want to mention, I did not have a chance to put it on here because it was not planned yet, or the date was not finalized yet. We do have a P-TECH advisory board meeting. I'm going to send out formal invitations to all the board members. There'll also be some information on social media. What the P-TECH advisory board is it's a chance for community members, industry members, our IHE partners like Hill College and Tarleton, school staff to all get together. And basically we share a little bit about the program, but more than that, we get feedback from community members. So what they want to see as far as workforce programs, what they want to see as far as programs that we might offer, what they see that industry needs are in the area. So we have reached out to a lot of community members, a lot of municipal members that are in the industries for the programs of study that we have in our PTech program. So anybody is welcome to come, whether they're a parent, a community member, a business owner, and again, we're going to post that. I will send y'all formal invitations, but we'll also have, like I said, it's a little bit of information, but more than that, we get a chance to get feedback from everybody. So about what they see the needs are for Venus and for Venus ISD. So what kind of programs do you want to see? What do you want to see students do? What do you think is most necessary for them to study? What do you think, what kind of trends do you see in industry? So we're going to do that. That'll be November 13th. That's at 10 o'clock at the Venus High School Library. And again, we will post that on social media as well.
I have one other question.
Sure.
The PTech, what we're teaching, is there something around, somebody had mentioned this or something, but something around whatever it is, it has to be a high earning career?
Yes.
And how does that work with teachers?
Great question. So, wonderful question. This is the question, always the question. Yes, so for a program of study to be PTech, it has to be what they consider high need, high wage. Now, this is what Texas Workforce Commission considers high need, high wage. And so we have lists that we have to go and we have to look at. And so teachers are considered high need, high wage. So it's not really a consideration that we make, but again, that's why we get community input too, to see. And the other thing is we have actual career paths, as well as like 4-year articulation agreements to bachelor's degrees for every one of these programs of study. And one of the career paths for teachers is it starts out, because when students graduate from this program, upon graduation, they get their educational aid certificate, and they'll have their associate's degree. And then what that does is they have an agreement with us, so they get things here like priority interviewing. They can actually go to school and work, come to school or work here as an aide, and then they can continue on to get their bachelor's degree. But that career path has other things except teachers, like it does include administrators, coaches, those kind of things, even though teachers is technically on the high wage. So high need, high wage. Yeah, it has to be both. Yes, yeah, it has to be both, but technically it hits both. There, it may be like pendulum might swing more one way. I guess so. But yes, that's a great question. That's why we have had a lot of feedback. A lot of times when we get the community feedback, we have a lot of people say, "Oh, we should do this. We should do this kind of program. We should do this kind of program." Well, we all have ideas about what's needed, and we would love to do a lot of programs, but there are certain guidelines for PTech. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not something that we can't do in a traditional CTE program, which works in tandem a lot of times with our PTech programs. So, you're welcome. Any more questions?
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
We'll go to item number 11, special education update. Ms. Peterson?
Good evening, board. Ms. Rosie. Thank you. Well, my presentation is not as fancy as the previous presentations this evening, but it is just basically some straightforward information with numbers. I will be presenting in the future a more comprehensive report for special education. Once we get our results-driven accountability official report, we'll be getting that later in November. So this is just giving you a report of where our current numbers are. I went back to 2023 using our OnData suite to pull this data. So currently this year, as you can see, I've broken down the numbers from to indicate dyslexia, section 504, and special education. If you look at dyslexia first, you can see those numbers have increased since 23-24 school year from 75 to 112. Now, 112 does not mean we are instructing or pulling out 112 students for dyslexia instruction. Those are just the ones who have been identified with dyslexia, and I'll give you those numbers here in a different slide for those pull-out numbers. Section 504, as you can see, those numbers have decreased. Part of that reason is because our dyslexia students have been moved over from 504 into special education. This year, all of our students receiving dyslexia instruction fall under the special education umbrella. In the past, we could do either 504 or special education. As you can see, our numbers are trending up in special education. Part of that is because of the dyslexia identification, but that's not the only reason those numbers are going up. I believe we're doing a better job of identifying students. And so I believe 279, and this has probably gone up in the last couple of days. I believe this is our highest identification in the history of Venus. At least if you go back a couple years prior to 2023, I believe the numbers were even smaller. So I think, to the best of my knowledge, this is the highest number we've had. Oh.
Explain what Section 504 includes.
That's a good question. There is a difference in Section 504 and special education. Section 504 is more about no discrimination based on disabilities, and it's more about civil rights. So we identify students under Section 504 who are students who have an identified disability, but they might not need special education, specially designed instruction. So, in other words, they might need accommodations, but may not need the special education services. Some of those accommodations could be like oral administration, if there's reading difficulties. So that is the main difference. Special education is identified as having a disability and requiring specially designed instruction. So your students in Section 504 do not have a special education teacher going into the classrooms to support them. The teachers just provide those accommodations. Is that could be temporary? Yeah, Section 504 could be a temporary disability, broken arm. Sometimes we carry students with diabetes or a health condition where they don't really require special education services, but they may need the attention of the nurse, or they may have frequent absences, so they would require some accommodations, if that makes sense. Okay, next slide. So this information, these are 3 consecutive slides where this information was pulled from in our On Data Suite. So if you'll, I have it more clearly in the 4th slide here. So just keep going, Ms. Rosie, and I put them side by side. So programs by disability placement since 2023. These reports can be a little bit deceiving because they identify primary disability only. So you might see the numbers in those On Data Suite slides for speech, but and they may say 37, 40, but that's only students who have been identified with a speech impairment and no other disability. But if you look at these numbers, we serve 111 students for speech therapy. The mainstream inclusion, these are students who where teachers are pushing in, or paraprofessionals are pushing into the classroom to provide support. If you look at those numbers, they've gone down since 23-24. But if you look at the resource numbers, those have gone up. Those are the resource classrooms where students are pulled out of the classroom, receive modified instruction in the special education setting. So that does have some impact on your staffing patterns, and I'll share that in a future slide with you. Self-contained could be life skills or behavior. So we've gone down in numbers. Part of that reason is some of our students, when they made the STAR Alt II participation more rigorous to meet that eligibility, we started those students that no longer qualified to take the STAR Alt II were moved out into resource, and so those numbers have come down. Full-time early childhood would be your program for your 3 and 4-year-olds, where students come for either a full half day, your 3-year-olds, or your 4-year-olds who come for a full day as a 4-year-old. Those numbers have gone up significantly. So right now you're sitting with 8 students in a self-contained early childhood program. Okay, keep going. So that's where that information came from, was on those. So case management, if you,
We only have a 3 or 4 year old for students with a disability. We don't currently offer a 3 or 4 year old classroom, do we?
well, preschool, pre-K would be 4-year-olds, but we don't have a 3-year-old or preschool.
That's 8 kids, but all the 8 kids have to qualify with a specific disability.
Yes, sir, that's correct. 3 and 4-year-olds. So we have 3 dyslexia teachers. One is a resource teacher at the middle school who went for training this year because our numbers were growing and we were trying to support that carryover. She has 2 class periods at the middle school. We have 2 other teachers that hit all of the other campuses. Mainly the majority of those are at the elementary. Again, your total students is 112, but your students receiving instruction, pull-out services is 84. Next slide. So this is campus by campus, just to give you an idea of what our numbers are sitting at, how many teachers are at each campus, and how many students are in referral status. At the primary, we have 34 students. 13 are speech only. We have 2 walk-in speech therapy. Some of our littles that don't qualify for the full day early childhood may come in as a walk-in speech. The ECSC and the life skills, they basically share a student, so that can be 7 or 8 for both, give or take 1. Resource and inclusion, you have 8 students, and keep in mind, because it's the primary school, we don't identify a lot of students with learning disabilities at this age, so keep those numbers in mind. We have 3 teachers, 3 paraprofessionals. Case management average is 8, and we have 12 students in referral status. So right now we have pretty good coverage at the primary. Next slide is our elementary. This is where we have some challenges as far as on the cusp of needing additional staff. We have 117 students, only 19 speech onlys, 7 life skills students with 1 teacher, 2 paraprofessionals, 91 resource, inclusion and behavior students. So that is 5 teachers. If you count the 2 dyslexia teachers, that's 5. It sounds a little high, but think in terms of dyslexia teachers. For that number, we have 4 paraprofessionals. On average, our teachers are managing 23 students for case management, and then we have 13 in referral status. So right now we are covering minutes. So when we look at staffing, we want to ensure that we're covering special education services. We are on the cusp of needing some additional assistance. Right now we have those minutes covered, but we are stretching with our students that are in referral status. So that takes us to our next campus, middle school, with 63 students. As you can see, the speech numbers go down. We only have 1 that's a speech only. 3 life skills students, 1 teacher, 1 para, and 1 part-time in that. That's and then resource inclusion and behavior, 58. We have additional teachers sitting at 3. When I say additional, that's beyond the 1 life skills teacher. Additional paraprofessionals, 1 part-time, 1 full-time. Case management average, 19 students and 2 in referral status. All right, so then the high school. Yes, sir.
I just don't know the terms on resource. What
Yes.
is resource student?
That's a good question. So a resource teacher is a pull-out teacher. So the student leaves the general education, goes to a special education class, and that content can be modified. So those students may not be able to keep pace in an inclusion class, and they need additional support. So they might need to have instruction that is scaffolded to meet their needs. They may be functioning a couple of grade levels below or several grade levels below the typical grade level student. So that content can be modified. Okay, And then the high school slide. We have 71, and at this point, we are phasing out our speech onlys. 11 life skills, 1 teacher, 2 paraprofessionals, 60 students receiving resource, inclusion, and behavior support, 4 teachers, 1 paraprofessional, case management average, 15 students, and 1 in referral status. So you can kind of compare slide by slide. Campus by campus, what they're dealing with in numbers. So what impact does this have? And this is my last slide. What are the changes? What are we feeling this year that might be impactful? This is not an exhaustive list. Currently 22 additional students across district from last year in special education. And if you look at case management, that equates to 1 additional teacher, because when you think of anywhere from 20 to 24 students for case management, so our numbers have grown, but this is across district. The elementary has experienced a lot of that growth. 2 current substitute in district for high need situations. We have higher numbers in resource students. Remember that slide I showed you where we have been progressively, the numbers have gone down for inclusion and have gone up in resource. What impact does that have for a district? An inclusion support person could be a special education teacher or a paraprofessional, but if our numbers are going up in resource, only a special education teacher can serve those students. So that will have some impact on how we schedule and how we serve students. Temporary self-contained behavior. Venus should take great pride in knowing that we do great across the district. Our administrators do great across the district in trying to get students back out into the classes, in trying to avoid students who are placed in a self-contained behavior for long term. In fact, when students go into their art committee meetings, we already have a reintegration plan in order to try to get them back out with their peers. So we currently have some temporary students, so that can can have impact on a teacher who normally goes out for inclusion, but she may have a couple of temporary behavior students who are currently self-contained but not long-term. And then our dyslexia instruction has increased significantly. That's all I have. I can try to answer your questions as best as I can. I know that we've met with all the principals, with Mr. Gatewood, to talk about, our needs and where we're seeing growth. And we will keep you abreast as to what those instructional needs are if in the event we need to add any additional staff based on these increasing numbers.
Any questions? No? Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go to item number 12, executive session at 7:42 p.m. for 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, 551.076, 551.082, and 551.0821. We're going to reconvene from executive session at 8:59 p.m. Go to item number 14, consent agenda. Did anybody have any questions on the consent agenda?
No.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Got a motion by Amber, second by Greg. All in favor? Motion carries. Go to item number 15, consider approval of library book purchase. Ms. Roberts?
Back again, wanting to buy more books. They have been posted for the month as outlined in Senate Bill 13 and haven't received any questions, comments, or concerns. So I'd like to propose or ask that you guys approve the purchase of the October library books.
Anybody have any questions on the books? No? Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the book purchases.
Motion by Amber. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Kirby. All in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 16, consider approval of the VISD 2526 good cause exemption. Chief Wood?
Good evening. Sorry, I'm losing my voice a little bit. The only thing different from what we've done in the past is if you see paragraph 6 under House Bill 121, it adds that effective September 1st, 2025, we have to do it if we have a good cause exemption or cause exception. We have to renew that each year on the date and everything else. So that's a new thing. And it really just covers basically if we have somebody out or somebody has training or something like that, that we know that we're short one since we don't have a 5th person to actually cover that campus and everything else at that time.
Anybody have any questions? No? Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Joe. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Amber. All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. Go to item number 17, consider approval of budget amendment number 2. Ms. Page?
Good evening again. Budget amendment number 2 has the reflection of House Bill 2 changes, both in the revenue and the expenditure for the teacher pay raises that House Bill 2 required because those came after we approved the budget in June. Also, the increase of salary in Function 41 and the increase in expenditures in Function 11 for the band instrument damages. So this is taking $85,000 out of fund balance. So our fund balance, our deficit proposed as 443,448. Remember the 358,448 is what we did for the one-time retention that we're going to put into fund balance this year and took it back out for next. Put it in for last year and taking it out this year.
Anybody have any questions?
Madam President, I don't know if this may be offline a little bit, but have we taken any steps to, one of those line items was the replacement of all the band instruments that may or may not have been damaged through the room temperature? Have we taken any steps to ensure that accountability is placed on someone to make sure that doesn't happen again?
Yes, sir. Actually, I have sat down with the middle school band directors. They've developed a checklist for at the end of the year how those instruments are cleaned, how those instruments are stored. In fact, that portion of the middle school, as you know, it gathers moisture for some odd reason. Over the summer, those instruments will actually be moved to the high school. We won't leave them in that particular room.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion to approve a budget amendment 2.
Motion by Amber. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Greg. All in favor?
Thank you.
Motion carries. Thank you. Go to item 18, consider approval of matters related to personnel, resignations, employment position, or contract amendments. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the matters related to personnel, resignations, employment, and positions.
Motion by Amber. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Randall.
Second. Sorry.
All in favor? Motion carries. So we would like to welcome Dr. Rebecca Vega. Hobble on up. Oh, nice shoes. No. And we'll go to item 19, reports. Mr. Gatewood.
Okay, there's a lot going on here. I'm going to go ahead and start with student achievement instruction. All campuses have started intervention periods. They started that October 13th during the school day, just something new that we're doing this year. Special programs of compliance. We had our first SHAC meeting last week. Happy to say we had several parents attend, so that's been amazing. Just the parents willing to join that. Again, the construction bond, phase 1 of the high school. We have department level user input sessions scheduled for Wednesday, and I'm getting external feedback gathered from the 5 construction companies. We're making a recommendation by the end of the week to the school board.
Mr. Gatewood?
Yes, sir.
Your first thing was the tutorial period?
Yes, sir.
Just in that tutorial period, we were doing a program that we paid a lot of money for. Is there any possibility of getting a partial refund from that program?
No, it is not, sir. That is when that House SB 12 passed, where we had to seek permission. That was the first thing I stopped into the CFO's office and then to inquire, can we get a refund? And we cannot, sir. So I was thinking the same thing. Athletics, we have a good problem going. We have enough ninth graders to where next year we probably have to run a freshman team. This year we're just running JV and varsity, but next year we're probably looking at having to run freshman teams on some sports, which is a good problem because we haven't had a freshman team in a long time. Some upcoming district events, we have the Haunted Hayride on the 23rd of October, the Trunk or Treat on the 28th of October. First time since in a long time we're doing parent-teacher conferences, which is on November 7th all day. There will be a virtual option for the parents. We have a Veterans Day programs going November 11th, and also November 24th through 28th is Thanksgiving break. And that's all I have for the superintendent's report.
Do you know if those Veteran Day assemblies are combined or if they're doing?
No, sir, they're doing that separate. I prefer to do separate. I started that last year. Reason being, I like to have an AM one and a PM one because parents and community members, their schedules vary.
Item 20, board requests for additional items. Anybody have any requests for additional items?
When is the
November
November meeting?
17th. Anybody? No? Okay, we'll go to item number 21, adjourn at 9:10 p.m.